Yo, what's going on, everybody? Just Straight Outta Boston here, aka the King of Boston. Today we're back for episode 22 of my Indiana Pacers MyLeague and NBA 2K15. And today we're ready to get started with Season 3. Now for Season 3, I'm not going to be playing very many regular season games. Now this is pretty much the same team we had from last year. And I really want to get towards the playoffs because I do want to try and get this series done by next Sunday, because that's the day I go back to school, and I'm going to be postponing videos once again, as many of you know. That might be a surprise to some of you, but that's been my plan for a while now. So I'm really trying to get the series wrapped up by next Sunday, and I want to leave like 5 or 6 days to do the postseason. So I want to start the postseason probably by like Tuesday. So I'm probably just going to play, I'd like to play 3 regular season games and maybe start the postseason on Wednesday and do 1 episode per round. That leaves enough for 4. I get started on Thursday and do 1 episode per round. But anyway, we'll see, and that assumes I get to the finals. Obviously it's not a given, but obviously want to allow for that much time just in case we do get to the finals and make a championship run. But anyway, we're taking on the Charlotte Hornets, so we're 16 games in. I think we're 12-3 right now. They are 15-2. Our defense is off to a record pace. That's why I showed it to you early in the video. We're only allowing 80 points a game. That would be an all-time record. I'm pretty sure that's pretty much unheard of in any era of basketball. At least over a full season. I'm sure you can find a 16 game sample or 15 game sample of a team allowing 80 points a game or less, but over a whole season that would be pretty unprecedented. So our defense is off to a record pace right now, but we'll see if we can continue. We're taking on Kevin Durant's Charlotte Hornets. If you watch the offseason video, you know that Kevin Durant signed with the Charlotte Hornets, and that makes the team that we faced in the conference finals last season even better. So it's going to be quite the tough test. We're in Indiana though, so hopefully we'll have a bit of an advantage. But here's an early pretty big play. DeAndre Jordan gets his second foul, so we're going to have to bring in Willie Cauley-Stein, and him, DeAndre Jordan, and not Cauley-Stein. DeAndre Jordan and Paul Millsap both ran into a bit of foul trouble early on. Millsap would get 2 fouls by the end of the first quarter. DeAndre obviously sat out the rest of the first quarter, but Cauley-Stein gets a nice bucket there early on to try and make an impact in this game and try to help replace Jordan. We did send Willie Cauley-Stein to one of the defensive big man camps in training camp, so we did improve his defense a little bit, but our defense definitely suffered when DeAndre was not in there, and Kevin Durant started to get loose here a little bit at the end of the first. He hits a 3 right there. It's 17-12 right now. Here's Cody Zeller giving it to Kemba Walker, covered by Moutier, down low to Gerald Henderson, pump fake down to Zeller again, back to Henderson, jumper, that is good, and the Hornets have an early 7-point lead now, 21-14. Tyus Jones in the game now. This is the first we've seen of our new point guard, Tyus Jones. Here we have KJ McDaniels looking for a screen from Cauley-Stein, makes the pass to Paul George in the back cut. Beautiful cut by Paul George. Gets the lead down to 5, but on the other end of the floor, Kemba Walker now with the ball, gets right by Tyus Jones, kicks it out to Gerald Henderson in the corner. Oubre had to come over and help, but that left Henderson open, and that was an easy jumper for Gerald Henderson. Now Kemba with the ball again, a little pick and roll, and Walker just stops, pops, actually pump fakes, and ends up getting the little layup there after some poor defense by the Pacers. So 28-18 here, start of the second, and Kevin Durant gets right by Jimmy Butler. I had Paul George covering Kevin Durant for most of this game, but obviously Paul George can't play 48 minutes a game, so Jimmy Butler got some duties on him, as well as Kelly Oubre at one point. But anyway, Oubre with the little layup right there coming off the screen actually caught that one in the paint. But here Moutier coming around the screen. Emmanuel Moutier had a really big day. Him and Paul George led our offense. But here we're going to hit back to Moutier. Butler will pick up the assist right there as Moutier knocks down the jumper. We sent Moutier to one of those outside jumping, or those outside shooting camps. So his jump shot's a little bit improved this year. But here's Lance Stevenson to the hoop, and that is an easy layup right there. And once again, this Hornets team featured no Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. I'm not sure if they traded him after they got Kevin Durant or what they did with him. Maybe he was hurt again. Maybe his leg was still broken. I'm not really sure. But this is pretty much, other than the Kevin Durant edition, the same team they have in real life. They also have Ed Davis starting at center. I didn't mention that, but he's their new starting center. There's no Al Jefferson on this team, so that's a bit of a downgrade. Although with the offense Kevin Durant supplies or brings to the team, he certainly makes up for Jefferson, and Davis is probably a bit better than Jefferson defensively, so it's actually not a bad fit for the Hornets to downgrade from Jefferson to Davis. And other than that, their bench pieces are, PJ Hairston, Gerald Henderson, Frank Kaminsky, who was a rookie for their team last year. So sort of a pretty similar team to the one they have in real life. Zeller here making a nice little 2-man game to Kaminsky, and Kaminsky actually throws the left-handed hook and gets that to go. So 11-point lead here for the Hornets, 51-40 here, close to the end of the first half. Paul George gets that rebound. He's going to take it coast to coast. He actually traveled there, but got away with it and slammed it down on Kevin Durant. So it's a 9-point game now, 53-44. Durant with the ball picked up by George again, but Durant's just going to ISO, go right by Paul George, and Kevin Durant is so hard to defend in this game. If you guys remember way back when in my NBA 2K13 Utah Jazz Association, I had a really tough time getting by Kevin Durant in the Oklahoma City Thunder in a couple of those playoffs. I think it took us 4 years to win the title, and I think we lost to the Thunder in 2 of the first 3 years in the playoffs. So Durant always gave us trouble in that game, and he's giving us trouble again in this game, as he is really taking it to us. But anyway, that half-court prayer is no good, so we will head into the first half, or head into the halftime with a score of 57-48. Our defense is not playing up to standard, of course, but Kevin Durant, I think, shot 7 of 9 and had 18 points in that first half, so he was really a difference maker for them. Other than that, we were pretty much holding all of their team in check, but our team assist to turnover ratio was 10-8, which is obviously 5-4 if you reduce it, and that's just not very good. Like I said, we like to try and get, mid-20s to upper 20s to 30s in assists per game, and 8 turnovers is way too much in one half for us. We are a team that, when we're turning the ball over, we're not going to be very efficient on offense. So, anyway, you can pretty much say that for any team, but Kevin Durant there with a nice assist to Kemba Walker, and now it is an 11-point game once again, 61-50. Outlet pass to Paul George. George ends up getting a mismatch on the break here. Lance Stevenson covering him, old teammates right here, and George is just going to back him down. He has like a 5-inch height advantage on that. I think Stevenson's 6'5", and George is like 6'10", or maybe 6'9", so anyway, 67-57 now. Lance Stevenson with the ball right by Jimmy Butler. Poor defense right there on my part. If you guys watch my videos enough, you know I'm probably not the best perimeter defender in NBA 2K. In fact, I get a lot of comments on it sometimes of people saying it's your fault, not the players, and I totally acknowledge that. But when I'm doing a commentary, I try not to acknowledge it too much. But anyway, Paul George with the rip of Noah Vonleh right there, and then he slams it down. Kelly Oubre to the hoop, that's no good, but Butler gets the offensive rebound, kicks to Cauley-Stein, out to Moutier, top of the key for 3. He knocks it down, 71-66. Now Lance with the ball covered by Tyus Jones, gives it up to Kaminsky, covered by Cauley-Stein, and Kaminsky ends up pulling up in Cauley-Stein's face and puts it off the glass. Tim Duncan-esque right there with the face-up moves. But here's P.J. Hairston with the ball, former Charlotte Hornets pick. I also got another comment that told me P.J. Hairston wasn't the Hornets pick, he was the Heat pick, and then he was traded. Well, yes, he was technically drafted by the Miami Heat, but when the teams make a trade like that, the Hornets are telling the Heat who to draft so they can pull off that trade. Or else the Hornets probably wouldn't have drafted Shabazz Napier to end up dealing him to Miami. But whatever. Here we go. Noah Vonleh in the post. Makes a move on Millsap and gets the hoop there. And Millsap really had a pretty quiet day. He's obviously a player we're going to keep an eye on throughout the rest of the season. I think I'll probably do one more game before the trade deadline. And then I will do one game after the trade deadline. And then we'll probably get into the postseason, assuming we make it, of course. But I think we'll make it. We started the year 12-3, and we're number 2 in the conference right now. And the East is pretty horrible, so Moutier gets to the basket there. He was really keeping us in the game in the fourth quarter. He had like 8 points in the first half and 24 in the second half, I think, at the end of the day. So he really kept us in it most of the game. And George makes the layup there, cut the lead down to 8. Now here we're going to get an inbound steal. Great play by DeAndre Jordan up the court to Jimmy Butler. Butler just puts it up, and it rattles home. So the lead is down to 6 now with about 6.5 minutes to play. Paul George gets the rebound with the lead back up to 7 after a free throw. Butler lobs this up. It's no good, but Millsap gets the loose ball and actually hits the little one-legged floater there. Lead down to 5. DeAndre misses 2 huge free throws right there, so the lead stays at 5. Here come the Hornets once again. Lance crossover dribble to Kevin Durant in transition. He hits the pull-up jumper. It's a 7-point game, and now a missed layup from Paul George on the break. This is going to be an outlet to Kevin Durant. Moutier tries to pick him up to no avail. DeAndre has to come over and help. That leaves Ed Davis wide open under the basket. The lead's up to 9 with 4 minutes to play. But here comes Moutier again. Crossover dribble to the hoop. One-handed slam. Trying to make one last run for this Pacers team. And Moutier really taking over in this fourth quarter. Here he comes again, trying to get into the paint. Ends up dishing it down off to DeAndre Jordan, who gets the layup, and the lead's down to 3 all of a sudden. 2:30 to play. Butler in transition, bringing up the court, gives it to Moutier. Moutier calls for a screen. He's going to end up giving it to Butler for the tie. It's good. Jimmy Butler ties the game for the first time since it was probably 0-0. I guess we had the lead early on, so it's probably the first tie since it was like 12-12, but Kemba Walker jumper, that's good. 107-105. Hornets retake the lead. Now Moutier with the ball. Gives this one up to George. That was a risky pass, but George to the hoop. He's going to turn it over. Durant with the ball, but Durant loses it. Millsap comes up with a loose ball and slams it down to tie the game again. 107 all is the score. Kemba with the ball. Just waiting. Moutier picks him up, but Durant running off an off-ball screen. He catches it top of the three-point line. He gets it to go, and the Hornets retake the lead 110-107 now. Moutier here with the ball again, trying to make something happen, ends up picking up his dribble, gives it off to Paul George to the lane, and he slams it down with one hand. But now it's back up to a 3-point game with 40 seconds to play. Moutier, no good, rebounded by Noah Vonleh, up to Durant, Durant on the break, now to Stevenson, Stevenson shot, it's no good, rebounded by Butler, and the Pacers will have a chance to tie it once again. We'll see if they go for the quick two. Moutier with the ball, Moutier now dribbling in, trying to create something, gives it back to DeAndre. Jordan's got the ball at the elbow, but he can't do anything with it there. Now Moutier with the ball back at the top of the key, finds George coming off a screen for the tie. It's no good, rebounded by Kemba Walker, and we're going to have to foul him, and that would pretty much do it. They would hit both free throws, go back up by 5, and they would end up winning 116-112. So that does it. The Hornets pick up the first win in the season series. I don't think I'll play them again. Hopefully, well, actually, I don't know if I can say hopefully, but we will most likely see them in the playoffs. And the final score is 116-112. You can see we end up shooting, I think we were both 46 of 86, but they hit a couple more free throws and also hit one more three-pointer than us, and that ended up being the pretty much final factor in that game. You can see George and Moutier led the way. DeAndre had 12 rebounds and 2 blocks, but Millsap only 6 and 3, didn't have a great game, and our bench also was not too spectacular. Durant had 32 on 18, Stevenson had 27 points on 21, and Walker had 26 on 20, so pretty efficient days from their top scorers, and that really was the key for them. Those guys led the way for them, and they ended up winning that game. So that's going to do it. Thanks so much, guys. Hope you did enjoy, and as I'm out, peace.